So Linda came back after a successful weekend away, and how did things progress?
Yeah. So basically, the time away for the weekend had been very successful to the delight of her family. New life, new start. I started to go to occupational therapy regularly, talking to Raquel each time I saw her. She seemed to come out of her shell. I felt terrible how ignorant I'd been towards her. The truth was, I'd never heard of transgender people. Some people in the ward were funny towards her, saying she was like a man in drag. Who were these people to judge? They were far from perfect themselves. Later that day, Lena was seen wandering around the ward, confused, wearing the same clothes, with a bad smell. Tina made her a cup of tea. They sat down together. Lena forced a smile, the first one in ages. Later on, her stepdaughter came to visit and sat with her for a while. Lena wet herself. The nurses changed her. She was destined to die in hospital, old and frail by the day, but she was harmless. I just made a cup of tea when Roseanne told me my father had come to visit me with a friend. I don't want to see them, I said in quite an aggressive manner. I got a proper roasting off Roseanne, so I immediately apologised. I calmed down and agreed to see them. So how have you been, son? He asked me. I'm sorry, Dad, I said, for my irrational behaviour. It's good to see you. Simon, my friend, sat next to him, vacantly looking at the ceiling. He asked how I was doing. We talked, and before we knew it, visiting hours were over with. I retired to the canteen for the evening meal. One of the patients, Val, said, "You'll never get out of here," she said, collecting a plated salad and sitting down. She laughed quite hideously, comatose, drugged up to the eyeballs, so badly damaged from bouts of ECT. Tina and Roseanne were stood in a corner. Vivian kicked off again, shouting and threatening to cut her wrists. Dragged to the lockup, shouting, "I'll kill myself." Steve, one of the psychiatric nurses, said, "Right, you're getting sectioned again. You've really done it this time." Her mother visited frequently. Vivian got quite aggressive, suffering from paranoid delusions that the staff were planning to bump her off. Her meds were increased. Later, lying motionless on the hospital bed, refusing to move, talking out loud to the voices, with inappropriate behaviour. Her personal hygiene went down the pan, banging her head against the wall. The nurses sedated her even more. "I've had enough," said Vivian. "I'm scared I'm going to end up like Lena," she said. Tina sat down beside her. "Come on now, Vivian, you're okay, nothing's going to happen to you." Tina urged her to open up, but she was too far gone, tormented by voices making her feel utterly worthless. Tina made her a cup of tea and urged her to sit with the rest of the patients, and so she did. There were 4 of them sat together. June identified as borderline personality disorder. Raquel was saying how she yearned to have the sex change operation. The psychiatrist said she had to dress as a woman for 2 years before they would consider surgery, and twice tried to take her own life, saying life wasn't worth living.
Right then, Jason. So there's an underlying theme here of most of the patients in there. They don't want to be on the planet anymore, basically.
That's right, yeah.
And that's pretty bad, that, to put people into that atmosphere. You've got a negative atmosphere all the way around, and staff in effect not helping, urging a lot of them on. And
Yeah.
so I think the system's let everybody down in there. They just weren't fit for purpose. And do you think it's ever improved since then?
Well, I must admit the old hospital was very out of date. Eventually they ended up knocking it down and rebuilding, making the tails. But I don't think the surroundings actually helped your mental health because it was just so negative being on a ward.
So negative all the time, isn't it?
Whereas there was, I can think of better places, definitely.
Okay, right, understand.